I think you guys can see it.
I can.
All right, thanks.
Sure.
Well, thanks everyone for your time today. I'm honored to have the opportunity to show you how MetaViewer and by Metafile can help you simplify the everyday tasks of paying your invoices while saving you both time and money. MetaViewer eliminates the paper chase and the costs involved. Our AI captures, reads, and routes your invoices automatically, cutting processing time by about 70%. With over a 98% AI data extraction accuracy, you'll see fewer bottlenecks, faster payments, bigger savings, and a happier finance team. It's not just automation, it's transformation to help you simplify your everyday. It all starts with capturing your invoices, and there's no reason to get fancy here. Your invoices come in via email or regular mail, and you scan them. Either way, we're in a digital world. We'll extract the pertinent information using our AI and bring it into the workflow. And here you'll be able to verify that the information it was extracted properly. You'll be able to code and reconcile your data to your GL accounts and get approvals if needed. And then you'll be able to confirm that data and export to Acumatica. It sounds simple, and that's because we designed it that way. After years of listening to our customers and understanding the best practices, we've created a base solution that can be configured to most standard business workflows, regardless of what industry you're in. We're not just a one-trick pony that makes you follow a singular process. So here's a few of the highlights of how MetaViewer enhances your native functionality. So we start with our AI-powered data extraction, invoice data capture, using more manual or basic OCR capabilities is historically the norm, but the AI is going to enhance that by capturing at least 98% with 98% accuracy. We'll go through PO reconciliation with two-way matching. We'll take a look at that today. We'll take a look at our comprehensive audit trails, being able to track everything you need. We also have multiple approval workflow options, data reporting with Excel files that are already exported for your convenience. And then we have standard document management for other document types and supporting documents for your invoices. Ultimately, it boils down to four simple steps: extraction and verification, code and reconcile, approvals, and reviewing and exporting your data. We're doing everything we can to help you simplify your everyday. Today, we'll take a look at data extraction with some PDF splitting. We'll take a look at a standardized workflow. We'll look at some PO matching. We'll look at approvals, and we'll take a look at that audit trail. So before we actually get into the demo itself, we're going to take a look at a bit of the behind the scenes of what's happening when you send a document into the system. And so you can see that we can capture it via email capture or through folder import. Either way, if you're scanning a document, you should be able to send it through either of those methods. And then you can also create a payable inside the system itself. Whichever method you use, we'll send that forward to a background step we call file validation, just making sure it's actually a PDF and we can actually read that particular document. Then we'll send it forward to what we call PDF prep. This is where we're going to take your document, we're going to clean it, we're going to make it look nicer, we're going to rotate those pages into the proper orientation, and if needed, we will be able to split those PDFs apart for you automatically. Once that's done, we'll move that forward to the data extraction step. And this is where we're pulling off all that pertinent information. And if it's got a PO number, we'll pull off the PO number. We'll send this information forward and then validate that data. So we'll make sure we pull out the company or that it's part of, the vendor for that company. And if it's a PO document, we'll pull forward the PO information directly from your Acumatica system. And then last but not least, we're going to send all that information to a step we call AP preparation. Now, I point this out because this is the first step we're going to start in our workflow. This would be the first step where you would see any of those documents into your system. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the demo. So the first thing to note about the MetaViewer system is that we organize our system in a roles-based system. And so you'll notice we have multiple different folders available here. Each one of these is an individual different step that can be applied to different users. So you may need a number of different ways to function in the system. And so we have our user manager system here that allows us to break those down. So if I'm an AP clerk, for instance, I may have some limited roles that allows me to enter data and verify information and even send things into and code in the GL. If I'm an AP manager, however, I may need additional functionality. I may need to see more things in scope for all of my AP clerks, and we do have manager views as well that shows that information. If I'm an approver, I may not need nearly as much functionality. I can jump into the system, approve the documents that I need to, and then jump out of the system as well. And then we also have a MetaViewer, or we call it a MetaViewer administrator role, which really has every single role and function that is possible. Now, you'll set these up with your individual usernames and real people's names. We've got these set up as positions as just an example. So as we continue forward here, we're going to go ahead and step into the first step of the approve or the AP clerk process, and that's stepping into that AP preparation link, as you saw me mention before. So when we step into that link, it's going to load a list of all of our documents that we have available. There's a whole bunch of different functionality that I can show you and how to customize this, add columns, reorganize columns, but we don't have time for all of that today. So we're going to step forward into an individual document. Now, as this page loads, I want to show you how this document was scanned into the system. So whether you're on a warehouse floor or in an office, you've got to get your documents into the MetaViewer system. And if you're on the warehouse floor, you might have some stamps on it, you might have some signatures, you might have stuff all over the place. And when you scan it, it may come through crooked, it may come through blurry, and it may just be kind of a mess when it gets into the system. Well, using our PDF prep process, you can see that this particular document has come in. We've rotated into the proper orientation, and then we've even been able to extract some of the information off of the document. So it may be a little small. I'll zoom in here for you. And so we've loaded the vendor. We've got this information even in a poor condition invoice. Now, as I step forward here, we do have the functionality with our AI extraction to be able to read handwritten invoices. And so the next document that shows up here, it's going to have some relatively neat handwriting on it. And I do apologize for the loading speed here. It's taking a little extra time today. I'll be talking to my IT department about that. But you can see we do have some relatively clear handwriting, and it was able to extract that information. We'll be able to extract information on the left-hand side here, and then you'll notice we're also pulling in vendor information on the left-hand side here as well. Now, not all handwriting is nice and neat and clean. It doesn't have to be perfect every single time. Sometimes we have handwriting that gets a little sloppy, and when that happens, that's that little 2% section where we say where we're not 100% on the data extraction because the handwriting can vary. Now, if the handwriting is semi-okay, where it's legible to the naked eye, then usually it has a pretty good success rate in pulling that data off. And you can even see when it starts to get a little sloppy. However, if you do have a doctor's level of handwriting, then it's not going to be able to read that type of stuff. It does have to be at least semi-legible. So with that being said, we'll take a look at the next example here of the Vestirse uniforms, and we can see that this document is in fact 4 pages long. Now, maybe I would not normally expect a 4-page document for the Vestirse uniforms, and so if I move to the next document, next page, I can see it's a new invoice, and if I move to the next page, I can see it's a new invoice. And so I think a lot of us have vendors who send invoices into our email in this way, where you've got multiple invoices as a single attachment. Well, instead of using an external application, we've developed this system called PDF splitting. And so if I hit requires PDF splitting, you can see that when this loads, I've got all 4 of my pages loaded here. And with the simple click of a button, I can tell it where I want to divide those pages. And so we can do this for you automatically. If you tell the system that you'll have blank pages in between them or barcodes in between them, we can bring this, we can split these automatically for you. And so I'm going to go ahead and send these into PDF splitting. So next up, I'll take a look at just walking through that general four-step process. And so we've already gone through and extracted all the data. We've gone through and verified the data is in our system. And so on the left-hand side, when this document loads, you'll see that we've identified the vendor, we've identified the company, we've pulled information directly from Acumatica about that vendor, and then we've populated all the information from the invoice itself. And my IT department is going to get a tongue lashing. So here we have Auto Classic Park Luxury Vehicle Rentals. I'm going to go ahead and hit Code and Reconcile because we verified all this information. You'll also notice on the right-hand side here, as it's a little grayed out, I've got IR review is complete. That shows me my data extraction is done. And this is our comprehensive audit trail telling you when the document was brought into the system and the steps that have been followed in the background. And so in sending this to the GL, we are using the default general ledger accounts that you have associated with this particular vendor, and we're applying the information from the invoice directly to those GL accounts. Once that does in fact load, we can go through, we can review the document itself. We can say, yep, all of this information is populated accurately, and we want to go ahead and mark this as coded. And so that's our second step. We're going to code and or with the PO document, we're going to reconcile the document, and then we'll move it to the approvers step. So in the approval step, we have a number of different ways we can accomplish that. First of all, we have linear approval, which you can set up with dollar amount breaks, where if somebody can approve up to $5,000 versus up to $10,000, and we have up to 5 default levels of that for approvers. And so I can go ahead and I can assign this to department or a manager, or these can be individual user names, so identified people, or they can be position names. However you want to set this up, we can customize that to you. Just due to time constraints, I'm going to go ahead and bypass approvals because with the blazing speed of my system right now, we won't be able to log in and log out. So as I move forward and move this into that approval process, I would with an extended opportunity, like to show you how we can log out, log in as the approver, show you all the different roles that an approver has and the availabilities there. So once we have that approved, the last step we call is final review. Now, that is a fully different step. This is, in fact, loading the next document. So as the role of AP clerk, I would then move into the next document once I considered it coded, and I would continue to follow that process. So when we have a PO, we will be calling directly to the Acumatica system to grab information about that purchase order and pre-populate that data for you as well. And then you would skip the approval process because theoretically it's already been approved in order to create that purchase order, right? So last but certainly not least, we have our final review step. This is where you're going to go through. Once again, you're going to be able to see the document that's up in front of you. You're going to be able to verify all the information from that document is correct on the left-hand side here. You can see that we have moved this document through the system and we have a full audit trail of every single step. And if I so desire, I can then export this to Acumatica, and it will have this document available for you. Please feel free to reach out to us for an extended demo. We'd love to have the opportunity to show you how this can work for you. You can reach out to Eric Humes, the Director of Sales, at eric.humes@metafile.com, or I myself am more than happy to walk through this with you again, andrew.gotch@metafile.com. And if you have any questions, by all means, please let us know. So I appreciate everybody's time today. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Andrew. That was great.